Greetings. This is Arvette McLean of Speak, the Universe Listens.
We cherish that. We love that particular piece of it because
teach people like, hey, it's okay, change.
New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you. Welcome to today's episode of Speak, the Universe Listens. And today's topic is using energy to raise the quality of your life. And I have Steven and Teron joining me. So welcome everybody. So we had started a conversation last week about energy fields and what are they. And so now, I guess to be more specific on how to use energy, how to harness this energy to improve the quality of your life. So one of the things that I hear people say a lot is, how you feel is how you feel. You can't help how you feel. So if you hear somebody saying that, Teron, what do you think about that?
Well, I usually take it, when somebody says how you feel is how you feel, I usually think, all right, well, they're trying to make me feel good and justify my feelings. But when I think about it in a deeper sense, how you feel is how you feel, but it's also, you control that. How you feel is how you feel, but you get to choose how you feel. I think is the deeper question there. And most people, you might get upset and just think, well, I'm upset. I deserve to be upset. This happened. I have the right to be upset. But you also have the right and the power and the control to switch that if you want to switch that. So instead of being upset, you can switch your energy to one that is more of a gratitude. I always go to gratitude because it's just the easiest, the main factor, in my opinion. And it's almost like an instant jump up too. The minute you start being thankful for things, everything just instantly jumps up for you. Everything just feels better.
Right. Sure, somebody say that to me, and I'm like, it's pretty much it's what you think, what you think is how you feel, pretty much. So I just more of I would reverse it on them, to be honest with you. But for me though, just thinking about that, it just made me think about going to the gym. For me, I know when I don't go to the gym, I feel a certain way. My energy is low. I don't want to, I'm a little upset with myself a little bit, right? But then when I go to the gym and I get back in my routine and things, I'm feeling like I'm on top of the world. My energy is just, I'm high off of life, So with that energy though, I just think about it, what we probably talk about with that is it plays a major role in your life, So I try to think about how I'm feeling and how to keep that feeling going for myself.
Yeah, Teron said something I think that's important. Because you say sometimes you feel like I deserve to be upset. That person did such and such a thing to me. And, I sometimes things will happen and I'm like, And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, if I'm thinking like this, I'm attracted more. But I'm like, well, shoot, right now I feel like being upset. And until I feel better, And so I will allow myself to be upset for a certain amount of time. But it's like that refractory period. Like you want to let it be short. So it's okay to have thoughts that, go awry or whatever, but just don't let them keep going and keep going. And because at any time you can change it. And so I know a lot of times when things would happen, whether I did something that I, felt bad about, I mean, I could feel bad for days, like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Or maybe somebody said something that hurt my feelings. I could be hurt for days. But instead of allowing myself to just wallow in that for days, I'll let myself have it, especially if somebody don't make me mad. I'll let myself have that for a little while, but then I know I don't want to create more of that. And so then I change my thought. I change my focus. And sometimes maybe you can't change your thought about it. You might still think, well, that person was just a jerk. You might still think that, but you can change your focus to something else. And I think you use the word manufacture your emotion, and you use the example of I can go work out, and that'll give me a different emotion. And so I think that's pretty much the direction when it comes to emotions that you don't want more of this.
Yeah.
So what do you need to do for yourself to make that go away?
Yeah. I just wanted to also speak on, like, sometimes our energy is usually working for us even when we don't realize it. Like, I think we've all had the feeling of, I really don't want to do something. I really don't want to do something. So you're just thinking that,
Right.
and you're not realizing that that's the energy that you're putting out. And so now whenever you go to show up to do whatever you're doing, this didn't went wrong, or that didn't went wrong, and everything just canceled and going wrong. Well, it's because that's kind of what you had been saying. That's what you wanted. You had been creating that energy and you've been vibrating at that lower level of that feeling on that topic. So now when that topic came to your doorstep, it's more like nothing's good around it now.
And that's one of the things, I'm like real guilty of. I'll be like, now I know when I get there, this gonna happen. They not gonna be ready. They gonna be talking some mumbo jumbo, and so I'm like projecting into the future of what I'm expecting to happen. And then when it happens, I'm like, see, I told you, but I'm learning to catch myself more and more and quickly. I'm catching it as soon as I'm like, they ain't gonna be ready, then I'll be like, I'll just change it instead of me putting that energy out there, putting out a different energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just said that. You just made me think like, man, I've been through that. I don't know how many times. But if anything, I would just tell people, just thinking about, for me, I think about things that make me feel good. What are the things that make me feel good to get me in that energy of where I want to be? That's all I can say. Like, there've been times where I used to go to the library faithfully every day and just go there and just like read for hours at Barnes and Noble. But now, it's like my time and my scheduling on how I work, I don't get that much time. So I know if I want to sit back and I know that's something that I like to do, it makes me feel good. And say my energy is now where I want it to be, that could be possibly one of the things that I would sit back and say, you know what, I'm gonna read a book. I don't have to go to the store to go read a book, but I'm gonna read something just to get my vibe back. And sometimes I think that's something for me I always do for myself, is I think about something that just makes me feel good, or something that I have done before that just made me feel good, and try to apply that in my present moment to get my energy where I wanted to be at. Because I'm not perfect, I mean, I am perfect, but not being like, sometimes my energy is not where I want it to be all the time. So I have to always come back and remind myself, like, hey, tighten up. Tighten up.
Yeah, actually what you just said kind of just made me think about like the things that I do to usually try and switch up my energy and to kind of make it work for me. So I remember during the summer, what I used to do is like, if I was if I felt like I was having a low vibrational day, because I'm actually now also starting to think that nobody has low vibrational days, just moments. But if I felt like I was having like one of those moments, I would take from an Yvette's book and try and go out into nature. And so I was like, all right, I would start going to certain different little parks, going through walks. And I had never usually been an outside person.
Right.
But it was just like the being outside and just watching everything else living, just kind of like, it put everything in perspective in me, and also made me just like grateful and thankful, like, all right, everything is fine, because You just seen that little frog just jump out of that pond. Nobody saw that frog but you.
Yeah, nature is another thing too. I love just to go to the park and walk through and just get like just some fresh air, just being around nature in general. And that's something else that just makes me feel good.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, and you know, for me, the color green in nature,
Uh-huh.
and it's so interesting to me because, you know, just being in nature in itself just changes my whole vibration. And I think, I can't even remember, I think they say, even if you just look at a picture of nature, it changes your brainwave pattern in like, I want to say in 6 seconds.
Wow.
So nature is just powerful with like being out there and like I look at the grass and then I can look away from it and then I can look again and make it greener. Does that make sense? Like I can make, like if I'm looking at these flowers and I see them and I'm like, okay, they're purple.
Right.
But then I can look away and then make them more purple, like they're more brilliant every time I give my energy to them or whatever. And so it's almost like a game I like to play, like, wow, like now they're really, they're really beautiful. And it kind of helps, reminds me that the universe responds to our every thought, like to our every thought. And so when you can start playing with it and seeing it, you know, like one of the times when and I know I've shared this story before too, but one of the times when I was playing with stuff to see does this work, like you hear, you know, my introductory book was Deepak Chopra's 7 Spiritual Laws. And so like I said, when I first read that book, I didn't know what that thing was talking about. Like, I'm like, okay, it's cute, but it just, you know, it doesn't make sense for the real world. But one of the things he had said was give a gift to everyone you meet, you know, just mentally. And I remember, you know, walking around the park and it's this couple I would see and they would always walk past. They would never speak to me ever, ever, ever. And then in my brain, I was just like, I was talking to the man and I was like, oh, I think it's just so wonderful the way you're so attentive to your wife and how you laugh at her every, you know, thing she says or whatever. And he looked dead at me and he's like, it's a beautiful day, isn't it? And I was just like, you know, and so that was like me playing with it and seeing it works. Like people can hear you. They don't know that, they may not know that they're hearing you, but they can hear you. And we know when somebody, like sometimes somebody be like, I didn't even say anything out of the way to that person. They came off on me. Well, what was you thinking?
Yeah, let's be real. Like, what was your thought?
What was your thought?
Right.
And I was taking this course and the person, this is what the teacher said, and I thought this was like phenomenal to think about. So she said that when you are having negative thoughts about yourself, another person could think you're thinking that about them. So it's almost like, you know, when you're insulting yourself, you're insulting the other person as well. So you might be thinking, I didn't even think nothing bad about them, but what was you thinking about yourself? So and that just goes into how energy flows. It flows in and out of everything, and the more you can keep your channel, I don't even want to say clean, but I'm just going to say in a space of love.
Right.
The easier, the more magnificent, the more purple, the more beautiful things will become in your life.
Yeah.
I remember just being, by what you just said, it just made me think about, I was in a space as to where, just going through at the beginning stages of my journey, and I had a friend at the time, we're still good friends, and he was one of these people, he's better now, but always talking about somebody, right? And I'm more the guy, like, anytime he would say something about somebody, it was never, you know, it could be something good or something, but every time he said something about somebody, I would never say nothing. Okay, you know, but it was like you always wanted my feedback, you know, to follow up with you. But eventually, after a while, I started getting into the flow of what he was doing, right? And I started talking about people, I'm like, all right, hold up. You know, I said, hold up. Let's bring it back, Steve. Let's bring it back, Steve. Because I did not notice, I was like, my energy before, I felt totally different from in that space that I was in when I was doing that. So I was like, yeah, that what made me catch myself and say, you know what? Let me get back into this peaceful energy I was in, because I know that's not me. And that ain't what I, you know, I'm not saying it's bad, but just, it wasn't my vibe. It wasn't my vibe.
This conversation kind of makes me think of another saying that we've probably all heard all life. Misery loves company. And
Yeah.
it's true, but never in the sense that we think we mean it in. So usually when we say misery loves company, we're usually thinking like, oh, somebody else is just feeling so bad, so trying to bring you down. But as I'm sitting here thinking about it, misery does love company, but it's your misery that you're feeling inside, or that low vibration that you're feeling inside, that's looking for comfort from your area out around you. So you're putting out that bad energy. So whoever said misery loves company is completely correct, but I realize now that I've probably been using it wrong my whole life.
I definitely know, like, if I'm feeling a certain way, if I'm feeling like feisty, or like, I know who to call and who not to call. Or if I'm feeling like, woe is me. And some people, you know, I ain't gonna call you. I'm not gonna call you. Cause y'all gonna be like, woohoo!
Like, I don't want to feel that right.
Like, I know who to call that's gonna be on that same vibration that I am. So I guess the point is, we all understand vibration. We all understand energy. And it's just a matter of us understanding that we choose our own energy, and we choose it in every moment. And our futures are created in the present moment. So whatever energy we're giving out, that's what we can expect to come back to us. And you guys already talked about things that you can do to change your energy. But also, you mentioned manufacturing your energy, because sometimes you might be in a space where you can't go out in nature, or you know, you can't go get on a treadmill, or whatever the case, or listen to your music. Maybe things that you aren't able to do at that time, but you still can manufacture your emotion simply by using your imagination. And so a lot of times people like, I don't feel happy, so how can I make myself feel happy? But one thing you pointed out was, you say sometimes I'll just think about something, think about a time when I was happy. And so that can shift you or whatever. But most of us can manufacture that feeling. Like, if I were to say to you all right now, feel the feeling of pride in your body right now.
See, I'm sitting
You
up,
can
right?
sit up a little more.
Yeah. Or feel, right now, I want you to feel sad. So you kind of like slouch. I see you slouched a bit or whatever. I know I slouch a little bit when I'm feeling sad. Okay, feel excited. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Smile.
So, but we already know how to feel these different feelings, and you know, sometimes it might be like, cause I know I'm very familiar with depression. Like, I spent a huge part of my life being depressed. And when you're depressed, you don't feel like feeling like nothing else. You know, you don't want these happy people skipping around you talking about be happy.
You just want to shut up. Go over there.
And so I know sometimes when you're feeling a certain way, you either don't want to feel another way, or you don't know how to feel another way. But like, let's just take the feeling of depression. You can literally look in the mirror and force yourself to smile. And I haven't read the stats on that lately, but basically they're like, just practicing smiling in the mirror. People who were in a particular study, they came off of their depression medicine simply by practicing smiling for like 5 minutes every day in the mirror.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so there are all kinds of things we can do to raise our vibration. When we raise our vibration, we are putting ourselves in a position where we are attracting things of similar vibration, and that's the whole point. That's the whole ideal, and that is the secret to living your best life, is keeping your vibration in a space of gratitude, appreciation, love, joy, excitement, all of those types of things at the end of the scale where you know you want to be. Just work towards that. And just keep practicing, and eventually the amount of time that you spend on this end where, you know, it doesn't feel so good, it'll get less, and then this end will get more, and you'll start attracting more things that will encourage you to stay at this end of the scale.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for joining me today, and I look forward to talking to you again next week, and we look forward to talking to you guys next week. So until then, keep your energy up. This is Arvette.
This is Steve.
It's to run.
Bye.